In the last video, we learned one of the biggest surprise about aging muscles. Aging muscle doesn't simply shrink, it becomes less useful. We lose strength much faster than we lose muscle mass. In other words, it isn't just less muscle, it's less useful muscle. That naturally brings us to the next question. If older muscle remains remarkably trainable throughout our 70s, 80s, and even 90s, as shown in the studies, then why shouldn't we simply train it? Should we train it the way we did when we were 30? The answer is actually very simple. Because your body isn't 30 anymore, and that's perfectly normal. So I've started this journey myself. I'm not talking about what I did 40 years ago when gyms were only just beginning to appear. I'm not even talking about 20 years ago when, like many doctors of my same era, I spent more time working than exercising. So I'm talking about what I'm doing now as I approach my seventh decade. As I often say, even though you are late to the party, you can still have a good time. So that's exactly how I think about building muscle after 60. Not as a race against younger people, not as a trying to get back to your 30-year-old self, but as giving my future self the best chance of remaining strong, capable, and independent for the next 20, 30 years. Because after 60, the goal changes. We are no longer training simply to build bigger muscles. We are building useful muscle. Muscle that helps us get out of a chair without using our hands, carry groceries without thinking twice, climbing stairs confidently, travel, recover after illness, or catch ourselves when we stumble. So that's the muscle that protects our health span. If you're enjoying this series, consider subscribing. Each video builds on the last one because preserving health span isn't about one magic exercise or one miracle supplement. It's about understanding how the body changes, then learning how to work with those changes instead of against them. Now let's get back to the topic. So the biggest mistake I see isn't one thing. Many people simply stop training somewhere along the way. Life becomes busy. You got work, family, other priorities take over. 1 year becomes five, and five becomes 20. Before you know it, we have become inactive. The good news, however, is that muscle remains remarkably trainable. It's never too late to start again. Some others never really stopped. They kept training exactly the same way they did in their 20s and 30s. But our bodies don't stand still. The physiology changes whether we notice it or not. If you have stopped, start again. If you have continued, adapt. The question isn't whether you should train, it's how your body has changed. Once you understand what's changed, the rest begins to make sense. So, the physiology. As we age, the signal from exercise to our muscles gradually becomes weaker. Doctors call this anabolic resistance. It's an intimidating name for a very simple idea. The message we send our body, our muscle, isn't getting through as strongly as it used to. The same thing happens with protein. Your muscles simply don't respond as easily as they once did. That doesn't mean that they stop responding. It means they need a clearer signal, a stronger signal, a more consistent signal. That's a very hopeful message because it still means that your muscle is still listening. You simply have to speak more clearly. There's something else that's changing at the same time. Many older adults gradually eat less. Appetite often becomes smaller. Some people also become a little less efficient at absorbing nutrients as they get older, particularly during illness or digestive conditions. So while the muscle is asking for a stronger signal, it's often receiving less building material. That's one reason why protein and nutrition more generally become more important after 60. Not because protein has suddenly become magical, but because the physiology has changed. The muscle is asking for a stronger signal at exactly the time appetite often becomes smaller. Food intake often falls with age, and nutrition intake can also become less than it used to be. The same thing happens with recovery. We don't recover the way we did at 30. That's normal. You have sleep changes, recovery changes, and sometimes we wake earlier. Sometimes our sleep becomes lighter. Some people find that a short afternoon nap helps. So, recovery isn't laziness. Recovery is part of exercise and training. In fact, after 60, I'd argue that it's one of the most important parts of training. That's why I don't believe in training hard every day. I believe in training well. So, for most healthy older adults, 2 or 3 well designed resistance training sessions each week are enough. Not 7, not 14, 2 or 3. Then give your body time to adapt. Walk, garden, ride your bike, play table tennis, go dancing, look after the grandkids, stay moving. Movement and recovery are partners, not opposites. The research keeps pointing us back to the same lesson. Consistency beats complexity. Not just for weeks, for years. You don't need a perfect program. You don't need to copy a bodybuilder. You don't need to punish yourself in the gym. All you need is to keep turning up week after week and months after months, year after year. One more thought before we finish. As doctors, we often talk about aging as though it's something to fight. I've gradually come to think of it differently. Our job isn't to ignore aging. Our job is to understand it, respect it, and work with it. That's why I don't train like I'm 30. Not because I can't, but because I don't need to. So I'm training for the next 20 or 30 years of my life. I'm training to protect my health span. I'm training to build useful muscle. Muscle with strength, muscle with function, muscle with reserve. The kind of muscle that lets you keep living the life you want. So don't train like you're 30. The physiology has changed. Understand it, respect it, and work with it. In the next video, we'll look at one of the biggest questions people ask after 60. Protein? How much do we really need? Because resistance training provides the signal. Protein. Protein provides much of the building material. Understanding how those two work together may be one of the biggest differences between simply getting older and aging well. See you in the next episode.